I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week in Crootin.
I'm Mallory Hart. Lord.
I already know I'll get blamed for that for putting so much recruiting stuff on Pickle's computer.
I was fixing to say, it literally said, I was like, oh, that's weird. I guess they renamed the Crootin intro, and it says This Week in Recruiting is the name of the video.
We got a rusty Pickle. What can I say?
I don't know. I'm not. I think Pickle gets a pass here. I think she's been set up.
It's This Week.
I think that was a setup by Mallory.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScouts. He has fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And, of course, it's brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express, do you realize how good Leona General Market has to be to keep Greg Powers General Store, thank you, from going to keep Greg Powers from going to Chicken Express on the way to Houston?
Well, I didn't say I didn't stop at Chicken Express because, as you guys know, the Huntsville Chicken Express is one of my all-time favorites. I love the layout, and it's starting to warm up, right? And so the sweet tea slap. So I got something for you guys.
And you got to go down and back to Houston.
Yeah,
good point. Good point. It's a round trip.
Sweet tea, Texas heat. Sip, smile, repeat.
Oh my God.
Got a little Chicken Express sweet tea.
What am I supposed to do?
Why is he the perfect human?
Today.
How am I supposed to follow that?
You can't.
I can't. Let's get into this.
Done.
Let's just get into This Week in Recruiting. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers. A lot to get to in today's program. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise is Devin Robeson. Is that right?
Yeah.
Devin Robeson, the outstanding offensive lineman from Pasadena Memorial. You saw him at the Under Armour Next Camp down there in Houston, which is where you were, and the 6'3", 315-pounder took home offensive line MVP honors. And I know we were talking beforehand, he's obviously impressive, and to be the offensive line MVP at this group is particularly impressive.
Yeah, Robinson was one of these guys who didn't appear in the interior offensive line top 10. That will change. He is a road grader, and what I really love about his game is that he can play guard or center. So he's going to get on the field. He's super strong, already has the size, and was much more athletic than I had given him credit for previously. As someone to really keep your eye on in this state. He's got some good official visits lined up already with some of the top schools out there like TCU, Texas Tech, Stanford, Houston, and Baylor. So he's going to the P4 level. One good school is going to get him. I had just not had the chance to watch him with my own two eyes. And he passed.
You're a believer?
Yeah, I'm a big believer now. So he's going to rise up the list. But this was a loaded camp.
Yeah, you were telling me about how it would have been hard for you to pick an offensive line MVP. Obviously, he's extremely deserving, but that just speaks to how good he is because this group out there was really remarkable.
Well, I cheated. This is the first time since we've been doing camps and stuff. It's been 2017 since we started kind of covering this stuff here. I've never done the co-MVP thing. I've always been you have to. You, Greg, can pick an MVP,
yes,
right?
Of course.
Even if you have to just go with your gut or your favorite pick from what you saw or whatever. This time I did co-MVP. And it was between Kennedy Brown, 2027 offensive lineman from Kingwood, and Nick Robertson, a massive and athletic big man committed to Texas from Klein, 6'3", 6'4", well over 330 pounds, who moves really well. And Kennedy Brown has such a high upside and such potential to be maybe the top recruit in the 2027 cycle in state. So we'll see, but it was just a loaded group in the trenches at this camp. 4 out of the 5 MVPs that we selected were from the offensive line or defensive line.
Speaking of loaded position groups at the Under Armour Next Camp, let's get to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week is Julian Hugo, the outstanding edge rusher from Cibolo Steel. Committed this week to Arizona State. Had offers from places like Baylor, Houston, TCU, Tech, and more. But this is a guy who is a monster off of the edge, and a guy who has been absolutely outstanding, a menace for the Cibolo Steel program. Last year, as a junior, put up crazy stats.
I feel like he's one of the more overlooked players in the state. 6'4", 230 pounds. He had 83 tackles, 21 TFLs, and 10 sacks last year. He was the 29-6A defensive MVP, and I think he's overlooked because the offensive side of the ball for Steel was so loaded.
Absolutely.
You know, with Jalen Cooper, Jonathan Hatton, Chad Warner, Royal Capel. They had a lot of key offensive players, but Hugo was holding it down on the defensive side of the ball, and he's big and can move. I mean, his 6'4", 230, I don't know, man. I think he's playing it closer to 250 on these highlight tapes that we're watching here. He's a true strong side defensive end who can take on a top-tier offensive tackle who could go into the NFL one day. You know, so I love his potential and upside. He's going to be so strong after he gets in a college strength and conditioning program.
Yeah, you can just watch the tape and be like, oh, the quickness, that's just going to translate immediately, you know, and he is a menace there, a game wrecker back there. You see him kind of fighting through a double team there and getting the sack. This is a guy there, and you're right. I think that Cibolo Steel last year, because they were so offensively loaded, I think people were just like, well, yeah, defense is there too. It's easy to not pay attention to what Julian Hugo did. Luckily, the recruiters were on it. He had offers from all over, but Arizona State's getting a good one in this young man.
I'm going to give everybody at home a recruiting hack right now. If Bill Belichick is offering a defensive lineman in Texas, pay attention to them.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's actually a pretty good rule.
If Bill Belichick offers you, whether you're a 2-star, 1-star, whatever, no star, if Bill Belichick thinks you can play D, then we have to take a closer look.
I think that's probably right. As Julian Hugo, the new Arizona State commit, is our commit of the week. Let's round it all out with our underclassmen of the week. Let's go to Houston area, Clear Lake safety Terrell Stinson, who just finished up his freshman season at Clear Lake. He's a class of 2028 kid. And yet, at Sunday's camp, you came away really, really impressed with what he was doing. Going up against some of the biggest talent there in the Houston area, this is a guy that we need to be starting to put on our radar.
It was a cool story just in general because he went to the Combine on Saturday to earn an invitation back to the camp on Sunday. He wasn't an original invite to Sunday's camp. So it was his performance through testing and the day prior's event that he was able to cash that ticket. And then, you know, there's not a lot of 2028 guys out there competing. So obviously, you know, if you get an invitation and you're a freshman, you're ahead of the curve in some regards. Well, Stinson had a good camp. I love what he brings to the table on tape. He was in the DCTF Rising magazine as one of the top 25 freshmen that we selected back in December because he led the team in interceptions and tackles as a freshman. So his production is already there. And I'm still surprised to see that he hasn't picked up a ton of attention. So I wanted to make sure that we talked about him. He might be a little bit – he's listed at 5'9", 160. He played much bigger than that. I wouldn't be surprised to see he checked in at this one at 5'10".
Because he's also here's the other thing though, the kid is
a freshman.
A freshman, like he's taking freshman classes at Clear Lake
right in tackles and interceptions
as a freshman. Right. I mean, at some point you got to be like, all right, let's give you a little bit of room to literally grow.
Right.
You know.
No, he's going to be a dude, and hey, I guess you could just come back or pick up your magazine. That's why you subscribe, right? That's why you subscribe so you can know about TJ Stinson in December instead of April.
Absolutely. Another reason you subscribe is just because you love Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScouts. He has fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Thanks, Powers.
Appreciate it.